I think one of the things that has helped me in life is having somebody who is there to have your back and support you when you are going to do things that are really bold and scary. And I think a lot of times we get messages that, we should take the safe route and do what's expected. And I'm really glad that I've had somebody who really had my back when I was ready to kind of take a big risk. And I think it's kind of fitting that it's Valentine's Day because that person happens to be my spouse. It doesn't have to be your spouse or partner. It could be a good friend. But, when I think about things like deciding to get my graduate degree, to run for elected office, things like that, they certainly weren't the safe bet. And at the time, even though these were things I felt strongly about, but it was really scary. And having that person in your life for me, it made a huge difference. So I'm really thankful for that and for him.
When I was running for office, I love the fact that I get to collaborate with other candidates in our communities. And also, I love the fact that our community were able to invite me in to their home and provide me water when I was door knocking. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ruth Anna Buffalo. I'm a citizen of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation, originally from Mandaree and live here in Fargo. When I ran for office in 2018, I had a lot of people host meet and greets at their homes. Also, they hosted fundraisers for me in the park, like painting rocks, and we still have that very rock that says Ruth for House. So just creative ways of support really meant a lot during my 2018 campaign for state legislature. Mods good odds, thank you.
We started a group of like-minded people that were running. They were either running or had run, so they were experienced people, and they were in through Messenger is what we used, and then that way, those of us that already had run a campaign before or won an election, they can ask us questions. So, for instance, if they didn't know how to set up the checking accounts, somebody would probably help them. Or, when they're door knocking, for instance, one of the persons was uh, afraid. She got threatened with a gun. That's the one time that I went door knocking. I thought then the idea is she shouldn't be by herself. So it was very simple, and each of the participants, the ones who are running, don't feel like they're alone. They get, uh, um, you know, they sometimes handed out the other people's stuff for them, and it builds kind of a camaraderie between the groups.
When I ran for election, there were a small number of people who were extremely helpful to me. I had the benefit of having extroverted people who are really willing to be in parades and door knock with me. Those were the extroverted individuals who were willing to help be the face of my campaign, and those were individuals who had the time and energy to do that. And I know that that takes a lot of social willingness. And that was extremely beneficial to me as a human because for those sorts of things, you need bodies to do, as well as they were very invigorating for me to have smiling, fantastic humans to help me with those tasks. Parades, you got to have candy and bodies, but door knocking, there's a great deal to learn as well as share information, and having willing, beautiful people to door knock with me was outstanding. But there's a lot that introverted or non-social people can really help with. And a couple of things that were really, really impactful for me were writing thank you notes. You may or may not know that there is this unwritten rule that anytime a campaign gets a donation, you are supposed to write them a thank you note. And so writing thank you notes takes a lot of time and energy, as well as money. And so having somebody who would help write thank you notes is a really great way to help somebody who's running for office. And so I had a girlfriend who, after her kids were in bed or she was done writing her clinical notes, would write thank yous for me. And we had a digital spreadsheet that we would share and update regularly. And it was a wonderful way for her to be supportive of me with the time that she had available. And it helped so much. Another really wonderful thing were people wrote handwritten postcards to people who were in apartments for me. And we sent thousands of those. And those handwritten, individual, personalized notes were like postcards, like door knocking postcards. And so those were great. And those, again, were introverted, like I'm door knocking, but I'm postage door knocking. And it was wonderful because I didn't have the funds to do a whole ward-wide mailing campaign. And those handwritten notes were easier and better for me to make connections with people. And so those who were able to volunteer and do that was wonderful. And I sincerely appreciated those. And I think the most meaningful for me that was unexpected and I really want to share is meaningful for anybody who wants to help out somebody running for office is a meal. A meal in a container that you don't have to wash and bring back, but it was just a surprise. Like, hey, Heather, I left a jar of soup on your front step. And it was like, I'm going to eat something warm tonight. I found that on campaign sort of weeks, I ate a lot of cereal or granola bars or whatever was lying around in my car. And it's just the nature of the game, I guess, that nobody really told me about. And I had helped with campaigns before and I had brought people food, but it didn't really register with me how wonderful it was to have a home cooked meal for me and my family until somebody was generous enough to share that gift with me and my family multiple times. And we were fed and warm and together, which is not something that happened a lot on the campaign trail. And so if you have the opportunity to share that gift with somebody, I highly encourage that you do because it made the difference for me and my family to have a meal together.